Hello, this is Cheryl Wilson and welcome back for part 2. So I'm going to pick up where I left off on the last video and I'm going to hand paint these beautiful cards. So let's get started. So that will be the next step I do, is to show you how I go about hand painting these. I'm going to put a piece of paper underneath it so I don't make such a big mess. So for instance, this one, I'm going to get out those colors. Let me see if I can bring you a little closer. Let's get out some orange, some red, and I'm going to use the golden. I'm going to use high flow, and this is where it's totally up to you what colors you use. You can go off of the colors you have, or you can riff and just have some fun. So I'm using high flow and fluid. And I'm grabbing just a bunch of colors. So if I were to show you, I'm just grabbing colors. There is no exact matching, because you're going to be making this piece of art an original piece of art when you're done. You can cover up as much as you want or as little as you want. So I'm going to start. I'm going to put some orange out there, and I'll put some yellow. I'm going to put some Indian yellow. I'm gonna get my bottle open. Let's see if that will come out in a... There's some Indian yellow. And of course I'm gonna put some... Let me get some white, and then I'll do some iridescent colors. Okay, and I'm just gonna start. I got my paintbrush covered in paint, so let me wipe that up so it's not all over my fingers. So I may mix some, and I'm just gonna start painting here. Doesn't need to be exact. You're going to riff off of this. Take some of the Indian yellow and some yellow. Get some bright yellow in here. There may have been some fluorescent to begin with on here, which is perfectly okay. I'm going to mix, maybe make a lighter orange. Just mix up a bunch here. And as you can tell, I'm now totally going away from what I had, but I'm having fun. Okay. I'm going to bring in some pencil. Now you can spray these. If you're going to be using something that is water soluble, you're going to want to spray these before you actually glue them down. Let me get some of that green gold in here. I just ordered another couple bottles of this green gold, and I do not like it as the original color. I like to mix it. So I'm going to mix some white with that. So I'm kind of going off of my original. I like to cover this whole thing. So the whole thing is another original piece of art, but this is just kind of giving me a start. All your pieces can be absolutely original. They do not need to be done like this. The paper may buckle a little bit. I want to get some black in here. I'm using my brush at the tip. Notice how black just changes the value. All the other colors in this painting are popping out now because of that, adding that black. There's some blue in here, so I may or may not add that back. So I'm going to dry this and then add some more. While that is finishing drying, I'm going to go ahead and grab another. Alright, on this one I'm going to have to get out some blues. So I'm going to pull out some blues, high flows. I'm going to pull out some, going to add a little bit of purple. I have a very dark purple I'll have to lighten up. Of course I have the white I can add. So let's just pull out some of these colors. And this is a painting I did a while back on a YouTube where I had done some collage on the top. So it turned out very textured, the original. Okay. Let me just get started again. This is going to end up being different colors than what I have, simply because I want it to. So, just going to do some of the background, add in some white. This has a lot of gold in it, so I'm going to want to play. It has some of the green down here. I'm going to be careful because I don't want to cover up my little dragonfly. If you wanted a more perfect structured dragonfly, you may hand paint one. I'm going to actually use blue for his body. Okay, I'm going to let some of that dry. Add some orange in. Just riffing here. Okay, I'm going to bring in some purple. Now this purple is very dark. It's a dioxazine purple. And not mastered the name of that one yet. So let me bring in some white into that purple. And bring in some original dark. Add some yellow. I got to be careful because if you add yellow with the purple, they're opposites. So I want to be careful that I don't create mud right away. There's that. I'm going to add some gold into there later. So when I work smaller, it's a little harder for me personally because I'm a very messy, very go at it type of a painter. And some of the smaller paintings, I have to be careful that I don't create mud because of the fact that I work fast and I dip back and forth. So this one, I'm liking it, but I need some more since there was a lot of texture. I'm going to let this dry because I'm going to go back in and add some texture. And I have a dollop of pink there. And I think I like that. I'm going to grab my magenta and keep that. This was a well-used bottle, so they tip like a lot of my goldens. It's gotten clogged. I'm going to add that dollop of pink. Go back in with some white. Make it a variation. Oh, I like that. Put my lid back on. I'm notorious for knocking my bottles over. So let me dry this and see what we get. So let's go back to this one, and I'm going to add some more kind of went totally off what was underneath there, which is perfectly okay. Now I'm going to add some gold in there because I love gold on these smaller cards. And the gold I'm going to use, I have some high flow and regular. I'm going to just see if I can get my, there we go. I'm going to use a rigger brush. That's a brush with a very long point. I'm just going to add golds different places. Add some more. I'm going to do some splatter gold in. Get some water. Some of that splatter is going to blend in. So then you've got a beautiful handmade piece of art. Again, I'm going to let this dry. I go ahead and pull it up off this paper. If you do this on glass or something else, it won't stick. Always got to use my fingers. So pull it up off the paper periodically so it doesn't stick. I'm going to let that dry again. Bring my flower back. It's still drying. But I'm going to go in with some gold and make my stem. I'm going to add some gold just around the flower. I'm just plain. I'm riffing. Love gold. Bring some black into my palette. I'm just going to add a little bit of black. Use my finger. Just kind of mess up that a little bit. I need some dark up here, so I'm going to go in, make one of the petals darker. Add some dark here. Maybe add a little purple to his body. A spot of dark down here. Let's see. Yellow. Add some more green. Look a little bit more on the I think I'm going to use the rigger brush with a little more control and highlight the stem a little bit. All right. Use the rigger brush and make myself a little bit of a... I'm going to take some blue and some green and make kind of a little leaf. Add to that color in a little bit other places. I need to dry that some more. Okay, it's drier. I'm going to let it hand dry so that this little pink spot doesn't bleed down. So I'm going to let it dry and I will come back and add some more embellishments to that. What I'm going to add at the end, because I've put some marks in with a water-soluble pencil, and it's probably my Jerry's or, you know, one of my other charcoal or graphite pencils is a matte fixative. So I will spray these before I send them out into the world so that that will stay on there. So this is still wet, but I'm going to just, you know, add some scribble in here. Maybe highlight the dragonfly. Maybe add some gold. You don't want to overdo, but just go with your feeling, and it's your creation. So if you make marks that aren't necessarily traditional marks, that's okay. It's your artwork. So move it around off the paper periodically. So there's the two. We'll let them dry and then we will spray them. But there's the two that I did for you. And I am going to work on doing a dragonfly on watercolor paper. So let me get that ready. So what I'm going to do with this is I am just going to, I'm going to take my, I'll use this. This is the kind of, I want to keep within that boundary. And I'm just going to draw, here's the head of the dragonfly and here's the body. Just very, let me come up here, very loose, the wings. Again, I'm abstract, so my rendition of a dragonfly is going to be totally different than what another person may do. And what I do with watercolor, and I'm not a traditional watercolorist, but I'm going to put in within the black lines the water. So when I take my paint, this is high flow, and just dot it in there, it's going to spread. Now you're going to want to let that dry. I'm going to come down here. I don't want to do the body yet. The more, if you're using the high flows, this becomes more of a flowing bloom of paint. If you're not using the high flows, it may not bloom as readily. But that's kind of where I'm at here. And here's the head. Now when I go down, since some of this is still wet, it may adhere, but I'm going to just do that. I may add a little black over here. I don't do traditional. I add a little bit. I may grab the white. Here is an iridescent pearl fine. Let me see if it's been opened yet. No, I haven't opened it yet. I really haven't used this color in a long time, but this is iridescent pearl. Fine, it says. I'm going to open it a little bit more. Add some water to bloom that out. That's just to add it a little fun in there. We go back and bring some of the blue back in. See, the two touched each other. That's why they're blooming together, which I don't mind. So I may grab some of this and put it over here. So there's my very unstructured dragonfly. And that's what I like. I, as the artist, like unstructured. I don't mind that this wing is so totally different than that. That's part of who I am as an artist. That's part of my way that I create. And if people like a more traditional look in their dragonflies, that's perfectly fine. Okay, I don't want his body to get too fat. So I may add, a little bit at the top there. So there's my dragonfly. Now, my other picture, I don't want to get it dirty. I didn't splatter. But say I wanted to do some splatter. I'm going to actually do some splatter with gold, which I don't have gold in here yet, but maybe I just want some splatter gold. So there's my dragonfly on watercolor paper. Add what you want. Don't add as much. Make the wings more traditional. It's totally up to you. I'm going to let these dry and I'll show you how I adhere them to my paper. All right, we're at the point where everything is dried. I decided to cut my little dragonfly out. I'll show that in a second. I'm going to take one. I've already sprayed this with a matte finish and let it dry. And there's different ways you could adhere. You can either use like a Mod Podge, an Elmer's glue, or if you're going to be using it in a professional way, you can get an archival. This is a PBA matte glue, and it is archival. So it just depends on what direction you're going. So I'm going to use a little brush. I put some of my glue on my paper, and I'm going to fully cover the back. I'm going to add some more of the glue. And then you're going to, you can flatten this out before you do this, or you can do an additional flattening. So I've completely covered. You add some more. Make sure you get your corners. This is the hard part for me, getting it completely straight. So eyeball it. Want your hands clean. I can always go around on this and add some additional embellishments. So let's do another one. And let's do the dragonfly. So let's see what he looks like. So I'm going to go around and embellish that, but he looks really nice. So I'm going to turn this back around where I had the glue in. This is a thicker, so you could use a gel medium, a golden gel medium if you want, on the watercolor paper as it's thicker. Gonna get him really coated. Okay. Okay, and a good way to glue him down this is almost like a wax, just a wax paper. Put the wax paper on the top. I take the other one, put it down, and then put some, I always use my Cy Twombly. Put some heavy things on the top. And leave them for a while to get nice and flat. So we're going to do that, and I'll be back with you, and we'll finish up. So I know this part 2 has been a little bit longer, but I think it's been a little more fun because it had the painting in it. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed watching me create the cards and the paintings and how I embellished them, give you some ideas. You can certainly do things so totally different than I do. This is just an idea to give you some inspiration, perhaps. But again, thank you for joining me. If you would do a subscribe and hit the bell, and just press that thumbs up to let me know you were here if you don't want to leave a comment. I am still growing my channel. It's one subscriber at a time, and so I appreciate every single one of you. I truly, truly do. So again, thank you, and have a great time creating.